If you've ever felt stressed, completely overwhelmed, or just burnt out, you are not alone. So, in this explainer, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea. What if the answer to our modern stress isn't some new app or productivity hack, but actually ancient wisdom that's more relevant now than ever before? You know this feeling, right? You map everything out just perfectly, a project at work, your entire academic year, maybe even your 5-year plan. And then, bam, life does its thing. It is so frustrating. And that exact feeling, that frustration, is one of the biggest sources of our stress today. I mean, think about it. From a pretty young age, our culture, our education, it all drills this idea into us. To win, you have to control every outcome. You have to optimize every single moment and basically engineer your own success. The message is loud and clear. If you just try hard enough, you can bend life to your will. And this visual, this just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got our plan, this perfect straight arrow heading right to our goal. But reality? Reality is almost always this chaotic, winding, totally unpredictable path. And it's that huge gap between the control we expect and the chaos we get that's the breeding ground for anxiety. This brings us to what we can call the modern control trap. It's this idea that our constant, almost desperate chase for control isn't just not working, it's the very thing that's making us so stressed out. The thing is, this whole belief in absolute control, it's an illusion, and a pretty fragile one at that. And when life inevitably shatters it, through a failure, a setback, an unexpected twist, we just feel completely lost. The shock isn't just that something bad happened, it's the gut punch of realizing that life didn't follow our script. Look at it this way. A huge chunk of our anxiety doesn't even come from the event itself. It comes from the shock that we couldn't prevent it. It's our deep attachment to getting one specific, controlled outcome that just pours gasoline on the fire of any failure. Okay, so if our modern approach is actually the problem, where do we even look for a solution? Well, it might just lie in the Bhagavad Gita, a cornerstone of Hindu philosophy that offers a really profound prescription for this very modern problem.
This one verse is really the heart of it all. You have a right to action alone, never to its fruits. Now, this gets misunderstood all the time. It is not telling you to be lazy or to stop caring about what happens. No way. It's actually a super precise guide for your mind. Pour all of your energy into the thing you can control, your actions, and let go of that obsessive grip on what you can't, the results.
This practice has a name, karma yoga, and it's best to think of it as a tool. It's about doing your work, your duty, with absolute excellence and full commitment, but without your happiness being held hostage by the final score. It's about finding freedom in the doing, not just in the getting. So how do you actually do this? Well, it boils down to a 2-step process. It's simple, but it's not always easy. Step 1, you give your absolute 100% to whatever is in front of you. You study like crazy, you prep that presentation, you put in the work. And then, step 2, you perform a mental release. You consciously, deliberately, let go of your claim on the outcome, accepting that it's going to be shaped by a million things outside of your control. And here's why that's so tough for us. The Gita points to our ego. The ego creates this delusion, this false sense that we are the sole doer. It's that voice in your head that screams, "I did this," when you succeed, and whispers, "I am a failure," when you don't. That delusion? It's the source of both our crippling pride and our crushing despair. Okay, so let's make this super practical. Let's build a toolkit. How does this ancient philosophy actually help a student who's stressed out of their mind about finals, or a professional whose huge project just went up in flames? Just take a look at this comparison. Imagine a project fails. The ego's gut reaction is to play the blame game, to feel shame, to give up, and just obsess over every little thing that went wrong. It's a total downward spiral. But the wise response, the one that's free from that ego trap, it's about acknowledging all the contributing factors, market shifts, team issues, maybe just bad luck, learning what you can, and then immediately refocusing on the next right action. It's about being resilient, not about being ashamed. So this brings us to a really practical list of habits for any high-stakes event. The whole game here is to shift your focus. First, redefine what success even means. Make it about giving your best effort, not about the grade or the promotion. Then, before the big event, take a minute and consciously acknowledge all the things you can't control. The specific questions on the test, the mood of the client, how you stack up against someone else. By mentally putting those aside, you free up all of your cognitive energy to focus on the one and only thing you can control, what you're doing in this very moment. And what's so fascinating about all this is that these ideas, which are literally thousands of years old, are now being backed up and validated by modern science and psychology. The Gita teaches that life's ups and downs, pleasure, pain, success, failure, are natural and, importantly, they're temporary. They come and go. It doesn't promise you a life without any pain. It gives you the mental training, the emotional muscle to endure it when it comes. And that is the absolute core principle of modern treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy and other mindfulness-based therapies. They teach you to observe your difficult thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them, accepting that they're not permanent. It's the exact same idea. Endure it, don't fight it. From a purely biological point of view, it's just common sense. No organism can control every single variable in its ecosystem. Believing that you, a human, are somehow the one exception to this fundamental law of nature, well, that's literally the definition of creating inner conflict. Harmony comes from accepting that you're part of a much larger system, not the master of it. And this all leads us to our final and probably the most misunderstood idea in this whole philosophy: surrender. In this way of thinking, surrendering has nothing to do with giving up or being helpless. It's actually an act of incredible intelligence and strength. It's about aligning your efforts with the way reality actually works, trusting a process that is so much bigger than your individual ego. This allows you to act with your full power, but without that soul-crushing weight of believing everything depends only on you. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What if we've been chasing the wrong thing this whole time? What if real strength, true resilience, and genuine peace don't come from forcing life to fit into our neat little plans, but from learning how to skillfully and wholeheartedly participate in it, no matter what comes our way?